Okay, so we got iron 2 chloride, whoa, which is an ionic compound. Just do that. Okay, and it's 2 plus, that's what the Roman numeral tells me. It's with chlorine, so we'll be looking at FeCl2 after the drop and swap. It reacts with sodium phosphate, so Na with a +1 charge, and phosphate, PO4, with a -3 charge, so Na3, okay, PO4. What kind of reaction is that going to be? Double replacements. Okay, and in a double replacement, what do we do with the metals? Switch them. Okay, so that means then that sodium is going to end up with chlorine and iron will end up with phosphate. All right, did I just make 2 different ionic compounds?
Probably.
What do I need to do with both of them? Drop and swap. Okay, this one's good, +1, -1. Okay, this one is a +2, this one is a -3. So I'm going to put a 3 here, and then I'm going to enclose the PO4 in brackets. That was something that gave us trouble on the quiz the other day. Okay, that's not a mistake we want to make more than once. All right, now that one is dropped and swapped. Now to balance the whole reaction, I would say iron first. Okay, so 3 irons there, 6 chlorines, 6 chlorines there. Okay, 6 sodiums there, 6 sodiums here, 2 phosphates, 2 phosphates, looks good from there. Okay? All right, we'll do the other ones after the quiz. Questions on that one?
This is a leave our bags here thing.
This is a leave your bags here thing. Okay, so you're getting what, almost 3 weeks notice here of your test. Okay, and I will give you the unit exam review package at least a week prior to the exam. Okay, that way, you know, if you got camp or whatever, you got time to work on it. In that review package will be just some review activities, practice questions, okay, things like that, and a practice exam with a key. Okay, now here's the idea behind giving you that. Don't do the practice test first. Okay, the practice test is to check how well prepared for the real test you are. If you do it first, it'll tell you you're not prepared. Prepare first. Okay, then do the practice test, and it'll tell you what things you still need to work on. Okay, now I will tell you that the practice test has exactly the same skeleton as the actual test. Okay, so like the written response part of it, okay, that's what the written response part of your actual exam is going to look like. Okay, it's going to be different questions, but it's going to have exactly the same skeleton. So there'll be some questions on balancing, then there'll be some questions on writing reactions, predicting reactions, there'll be some mole equation stuff, there'll be some stuff on solubility, okay, some stuff on properties of compounds. It'll be just like the practice test. Okay, now the practice test I think only has 25 multiple choice, but your unit exam has 33. So, you know, a few extra questions in the multiple choice. So your test does have a multiple choice component and a written component. Okay, but we'll talk more about that closer to the time, just kind of letting you know that's what you can expect. Okay, and timelines, so you can start planning. Okay, when am I going to study for my chem test? Okay, what other things do I have going on in my life? Okay, you got, you know, maybe you got football playoffs or volleyball playoffs are coming up or whatever. Okay, you know, we got to work, whatever, you got to plan around it. This gives you lots of time to plan. Okay, no one plans to fail, they fail to plan. Okay, I know it's silly, but it's so true. All right, so make sure you're kind of planning around that date and time. Okay, questions from you guys on the rest of the unit here? Okay, going forward, once we're done reactions and we start the mole equation, you are going to need a scientific calculator. Okay, at the very minimum, a scientific calculator. Okay, it does. If you're taking Math 10 this semester, you've already got the fancy graphing thing. That'll do. Okay? You don't want to shell out the money for the fancy graphing one. Those cost about $10, and they do just fine. Okay, I think I bought a bunch of these at Walmart one time, and I think I got them at the back to school sale, which is like triggering for me. But okay, they were I think $8 then. So they're super cheap, but they do the job. Okay. All right. So you'll need those. I'm gonna say Tuesday. You'll need a calculator for Tuesday. All right, how many people are done? We started these before mass here. How many people are done 15 and 16? Okay, I'm gonna give you a few more minutes. Get 15 and 16 done. If you're done 15 and 16, move on to the others. Okay, and then we're just gonna go through those today. All right, so number 15, okay, we got zinc oxide, okay, so ionic compound. Oxygen's a -2, zinc is a +2, so that's already dropped and swapped the way I have it written. Is reacting with hydrogen chloride. Okay, hydrogen's a +1, chlorine's a -1, so that one's also good without any little numbers. All right, what kind of reaction are we looking at? Double replacement, yeah, they're both ionic compounds. In a double replacement reaction, we swap the metals, that's what the pattern says to do, so that means that hydrogen is going to end up with oxygen, and zinc is going to end up with chlorine. All right, so now I've used the pattern and figured out who's going with who, but what have I not done? I have dropped and swapped either one of those compounds. Now, this is a weird one because this is -2 and this is +1, and what does it give me? H2O. Is that an ionic compound?
Yeah.
It can be, okay? It's technically molecular, has those polar covalent bonds, but it gets formed in replacement reactions fairly commonly. That's okay, don't let it throw you, okay? And then we've got a +2 here and a -1 here, okay? So ZnCl2. Okay, what do I have to do now?
Balance.
I gotta balance the whole thing. I think I can do it with one number. And if I'm looking, I got hydrogen as a 2, chlorine as a 2. If I put a 2 here, I'm pretty sure that makes them a 2 on both sides, yeah? Okay.
Yep.
Questions on 15? Okay. Now, number 16 I chose for a specific reason. It has 2, I believe, little tricks in it. Yes, it does. Okay, that we have to be aware of. All right, first thing, copper 2 sulfate, so SO4. This is a -2, this is a +2, so that compound's fine the way I have it written. Reacts with iron solid, which just means iron by itself. Okay, what kind of reaction is that? Single replacement. Okay, in this single replacement reaction, who is iron swapping out? Copper. All right, so copper is going to wind up by itself, and iron is going to end up with sulfate. What do I have to do to the iron and sulfate? I have to drop and swap. What charge do I use for iron?
3+,
Okay, how do I know to use the 3+?
because it's on the left, and that's the more common one.
Right. I have no way to figure out what charge iron had on the reactant side. Since I don't have that ability, I have to go simply with the most common charge. If this was a double replacement reaction, I would be able to figure out what the charge on iron was on the reactant side, but it's not. Okay, as a result, I have to go with the 3+. That is the first little trick that happens in this reaction. Okay, sulfate is a -2. Okay, now it seems like we learned our lesson from Tuesday's quiz with the brackets. Okay, so I have to put brackets around sulfate when I do my drop and swap, and the 3 goes outside of the brackets. And I think it's easier to remember those brackets when there is a number here. I think we forget them more often if it's like OH. Okay, it's easier to forget to put brackets around that one. Okay, and oh, sorry, I need 2 here too. Okay, so Fe2SO4 in brackets 3, and do I have to do anything with copper? No, it's not a special element, okay? Doesn't get any other numbers. Okay, what next? Balance the whole thing. Sulfate has the biggest number with 3, so I'm gonna go over here and put a 3 there, okay? Which is gonna put a 3 here and a 2 there, I believe. Okay? All right, making sense?
Yep.
All right, what do we got here? We got 10:51. How many people have done 17?
I didn't tell us to do that.
Yeah, he said if you're.
I said if you were trying to
15,
keep going,
16.
but, all right. Let's quickly look at 17 just because it's another single replacement but it involves a special element. Okay, so we got bromine liquid, which is Br2, okay, which I kind of spoiled there. Okay, and it reacts with potassium iodide. Ionic compound, 1,1. Who swaps out? Bromine is going to swap out the iodine. You got to replace what they're like, right? Okay, so that means, okay, we replace what they're like. And it's okay, guys, if you want to draw, I think somebody called it the rainbows, okay? In period 2, they call draw the rainbows on, that's fine. Okay, put those in there if you want to do that to help you figure it out. Okay, that's going to mean then that iodine ends up alone and potassium ends up with bromine. What do I have to remember about iodine? It's special. Okay, it's just those little details. You'd be surprised how often I catch people on that. Especially if you're in a high stress situation like a unit exam. Okay, that's why practicing is important. Okay, if you practiced it a lot, you'll do that without thinking. Okay, tomorrow. This thing here, guys. Hey, tomorrow we're going to finish up reactions. I haven't had too many people come in to have me look over their labs yet. I hope not everyone is waiting for the last minute to do those.
No,
Okay.
I've had time to look at it, but I was planning on saying that. Same, I also have
It's
time.
due on Tuesday, so you can still see me on Monday, yeah.